G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, holy shit. It's been blowing and blowing and blowing yesterday, and today's not going to be as bad, but the temperature's 17 to 29, but yesterday we had 40km/h winds. Well, old Bundy Bear's shed here, she was bloody creaking and groaning, and yeah, all the doors, I've got them wedged. I've got them wedged this morning, but they say it shouldn't be as bad today. Probably 30km/h winds, and so yeah, at Bundy Bear's shed here, at my shed, with the front doors here open, you can see a bit of glare one side because the doors are open, and I've got them pegged so they don't rattle, and so we get a little bit of air in here. We're down, as you're coming up to Bundy Bear's shed and the big doors, we're at the left now where I store all the tractors waiting for restoration that I don't want out in the weather. And yeah, we're normally up the other end of the shed where there's no external light sort of thing coming in. But we're down here this end today because I got my router set up. So I got it off eBay. It's a 600 by 900, and it seems quite rigid. It seems to be a good thing. I've had a bit of a fiddle with it, but oh man, I had a bit of a headache through the week. The final box that I was waiting on, the controller came. So, and there's a fella on eBay. The site I bought it off was Easy Buy for You. So guess where that come from? And I went the bigger bed because I thought, well, with my little lathe that I bought to do gaskets and bits and pieces, yeah, it was just, I found the limits quickly on the bed size. So, yeah, it's still at work for doing the trumpet housing gaskets and you know, the outer trumpet housings and all that. So, so anyway, I got the brain box, and in the brain box, the box with the controller in it, came in an instruction sheet, 4 pages. And I thought, oh, okay then. So I whizzes home all excited, plugs are in. And I couldn't get the bastard working for love nor money. And I tried and I couldn't work it out. And I was on YouTube. I can have the door open here and get internet from up the shed. So that's a good router, like 230 metres, and I still have internet in the doorway, up the corner I don't. And anyway, I was Googling stuff and I couldn't bloody work it out. So Thursday, I said to Jude, I said, look, it's just on my mind. I'm just going to go home real early today. So I went home probably lunchtime, and I thought, right, I'm going to get this bastard going, come hell or high water. Well, I spent the whole afternoon on it and into the evening a little bit, and I could get the X, Y, Z. I'd worked all that out. I could get all the machine moving, but no way could I fire that spindle up. And anyway, I just couldn't work it out. And so the bloke that I bought it off, Alan's his name apparently, yeah, he says, look, you have any trouble, get on to me. He says, yeah, we do offer backup with it. And I said, yeah, all right. So anyway, so I emailed Alan and I said, look, Alan, I've got X, Y and Z axis moving, but I can't get the spindle going. And I said, have you got another instruction, something like that? I said, I feel there's something missing. He says, oh, no worries, Lance, I'll just email them to you. So I said, oh, okay. And I was thinking, oh, here we go, probably get the same stuff again. Well, no, the instruction went from 14 pages to 17 pages. And the ones that come in the box was just 4 pages of black and white. These ones come with full colour instructions, click here, click there, put that setting here, put that setting there. And so Friday I got that, but I didn't have time to play with it. And I had Friday afternoon I come home and jumped on the mower for a few hours. And Saturday morning I come up the shed here all excited, and I thought, right, I'm going to get onto this bastard and get this working. So I, step by step, worked my way through it and got the whole show on the road, and it goes like a beauty. But oh, I spent the bloody time I put into this thing because of a poor instruction. And anyway, they use Mark III software, and they give you a disc with the, and they give you a CD or a DVD, probably CD, with the program on it. Well, that's bloody useless, because in nowadays you need to have like a little USB stick or something like that. So we have one computer left at work that's got a DVD drive in it. So I had to get the files off the DVD, put them on a USB, and yeah, then put them into this. And it turns out it's just a trial version of Mark III software, and there's another little drawing program with it that's pretty useless. Pardon me. So I gets at home here when on Saturday, and I was ginning around and had the spindles moving and all that. So I thought I'll just do a little thing, and everyone says, oh, first thing you ever do when you get one of these is make a sign. And I thought, well, that can't be hard. I won't bother with that. I'll just go straight into making a serving tray or something like with pockets and things, a bit more complicated. So anyway, off I went, and I just drew this thing up quickly. And you can see I've got a pocket there with a 3mm radius tool, and the edges are all sharp and that. But see that there, there's a little story that goes with that. Now, if you haven't stuffed anything up, you haven't tried something, I reckon. But anyway, what the story was I just drew this up quickly. I downloaded the VCarve program. Now, watching YouTube and anyone that's sort of playing with this sort of stuff, there's a couple of major programs, but VCarve Desktop or VCarve Pro or VCarve Aspire seems to be the go-to software. So I downloaded VCarve Desktop, and it's quite expensive, but I downloaded that because when you look at some of the other programs, it's a monthly subscription, and you know, $16 and $18, $20 a month US. And so as a hobbyist, I wasn't prepared to do that, and even though it cost me a hell of a lot more, I bought the program, and now I started off with VCarve Desktop, and I decided to upgrade to VCarve Pro. It just has a few more other little things in it. My mate Plasma Dave, he uses it, and so he makes a living out of that sort of stuff. And in the past, for doing vectors and doing my carby gaskets and all that, I've been using Inkscape. Well, Inkscape's a pretty good tool for the laser. It's free. It's a pretty good tool for the laser. The either light burn for the laser you've got to buy, but for the little lasers, the K40 Whisperer is free. So, and I've been getting on fine with that, with the laser, still using the laser. And but anyway, Dave mentioned the other day that with his VCarve Pro, it does really good vectors and that, and I could see that from the desktop version I had. So I contacted him this morning, and I just upgraded to the Pro version. Now, it cost me another few $100s, but anyway, what's bloody money, eh? Yeah. The kids will only blow it. So now we're up to VCarve Pro. It's a good thing. I'm still learning on it, but it seems to be a good thing. I can understand it. It draws things like my mind works. You pull you click and you pull a circle out, and you can do either radius, diameter, and the position where you'd like it, as in X, Y coordinates and things like that. So, and the benefit from this VCarve Pro is that when you've done it, say you've done a drawing, and you can highlight some of it or all of it. You can highlight just the vectors. When I say vectors, there's part of a drawing you can take out. You can just highlight one or two pieces of a drawing and deal with that with a particular tool, and then you can highlight an extra little bit. And like with this pocket, I had a 3mm radius tool, a 5mm tool actually it was, with 2.5mm radius, and I could set that to cut this pocket. and then once that finished, it just goes back to home position, and then I just put a 6mm double flute and we cut the edge here. But so it's interesting like that. I'm finding it interesting to use. If I did this again, I'd probably use a 1/2 inch bit and just go a bit steadier. But the story about the back here is the software. When I tried to load the software that came with the router, my computer wouldn't have a bar of it. It said, "No, piss off, you're not having that." And look, I have pretty good security here, and it reckons don't go near that. And it wouldn't. And I tried to override that just to see, and no way. So anyway, so I hopped onto I can't think of the site now, but it's where you download Aspire, is it? No, I know. It's where you download Mach 3 software. So because I said Mark 3, I went with Mark 3. There's a Mark 4 there that's probably better, who knows. And so once I downloaded Mark 3, it still wouldn't talk to the bloody thing. And I'm thinking, you bastard. But what I'd done is I'd missed a line in the instruction, and I had to go into the instruction from China and find a DLL file and copy that. Now pop that into my Mach 3 software in the plugins section and overwrite the little file that was there. Then, I talked like a beauty, and Mark 3's working on USB, not parallel port, and things like that. They probably should have went to Mark 4, but who knows? This is working, so we're just going to leave it with that. So anyway, to start off with, you just have a trial version, and on the trial version, I had read, but it didn't sink in. You know, bloody bit doughy, and so it'd go this deep, which is one round, and it wouldn't even open the square right out, and it'd just get to here and stop. And I thought, oh, must have a problem with the code. So anyway, I went reading the code, and it's surprisingly easy. And anyway, yeah, you just have on your G code, it's just X such and such, Y such and such, and Z such and such. And at the start, it tells the spindle how fast to go, what tool, and all that, and away you go. And it's quite easy. Yeah, I was thinking, I'm never going to understand this, but it's pretty good. And but I had read it, but I just hadn't sunk in that the trial version of Mach 3 only goes to 500 lines in G code. So I did this 3 times before I wake up to that. And so yeah, I got to the 500 lines, and it just stopped, and I'm looking there reading it, and I'm thinking, it's just fine. I couldn't bloody work it out. And anyway, I just, I took a note of the software of the line, you know, G code line 5, you have that choice. Every time it stopped on 500, and then the penny dropped. I thought, oh, you silly bastard. Yeah, it's because it's the trial version. So I jumped on the net, another couple $100, and I bought the program, the Mark 3, the full version, and no problem at all. Away we went, and we did this, and yeah, that was just an old scrap of pine. I was just eager to have a go. So yeah, we're all up and running now. Finally, I've got a waste board here that I can hook down into, and cut onto if I need to. Now, today's exercise, and I'm not doing any tractor work at the moment until I get this out of my head and just get it sorted out, so I have a good understanding. But part of buying this was the limitations that my little laser had, and the laser in the bed, 200 by 300, and I thought, well, 600 by 900, that's a big gasket if I want to cut a gasket. And the idea was to pop a laser module on where the router head is and just use it as a drag tool and fire a laser up, and then I'd have a far bigger bed and all that. But in reading things and understanding that these tools here, you can actually put a diamond engraver, a spring-loaded engraver. Now, if you look at Mark Pressling's channel, he's used it for, I think, on his carriage stop, when he made a carriage stop for his lathe to put the indexing marks on the knob. he used a drag engrave tool, and it's under my sound equipment there. And it's got it's a 1/4 inch shank, and it's got about a 10mm travel with a diamond in the end, and you can put it in the spindle, leave the spindle off, and it'll drag very intricate letters and numbers and things like that. So there's another plan with that. I was thinking with Fergie nameplates and all that, I could get a bit of board, cut a little template out, the right size, the exact right size, and over off to the side here have like a centre pop mark that I can centralise it on and call that 0, and then move up, and I could do some pretty nifty bloody carving on those name tags just by putting a number in. Yeah, number 1, 2, 3. Like I could set up a template to change the number, but anyway, that's another day. That's when I'm a lot smarter than I am now. But the thing that spun my wheels a bit with all this is America's not sending stuff at the moment, but if you buy something off Amazon in America, you get it all right. So no worries at all. So I watched a thing on YouTube about a drag knife. Now, a drag knife is a knife you can put in an engraver or in a spindle, leave the spindle off, and it will turn. So I sent to America weeks ago, and it's Dog River Tools, and you can see at the back there, this is a Stanley knife blade, box cutter blade or something they call them, and I can have it sticking out with the 1/8 here showing. It sticks out 1/8 of an inch, the blade, and I can turn this over and I can actually use the other side of this bracket, and that'll leave the blade out 1/4 of an inch. Now, the centre, this will go up into the spindle of the router, and it's got a ball bearing there, so it'll hold this, and then being a drag knife, it just makes its own shape. There's 2 little ball bearings up in the top there, so we should be able to plunge that down and just start the program. And the theory is that this will spin around and bugger about, and they say it'll go down to a 3mm hole. So a 3mm hole is like a 1/8 hole. So I'm going to test that today. I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to film it just to see how we go. And I've got my old staple gun here, you know, the upholsterer stapler, boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to staple some gasket paper onto my bed here. And I've made a little program. I've drawn up a little program this morning on VCarve, and just to test it, just to see how we go. And well, you can follow along when I do it, but I've made a square, which is probably, I don't even know the size now, but it's probably a 3" by 2" or something like that, a little square. Then inside that square, I've got a 3mm hole, a 5mm hole, an 8mm hole, which is 5/16, 10mm hole, which is like close enough to 3/8. I think I did a 15 and a 20mm hole. And I've set the tool paths up, so the first tool path I do is going to be cut the holes, and then I load the next tool path up, and then I can cut the shapes out. So what my plan is, this may not work, but who knows. What the plan is I'm going to cut the gasket with the holes in it, and then we're going to get the verniers, and we're just going to measure how accurate this is. I know you could do the same with a, just with a router bit in a bit of wood, but part of buying this is just being handy for all sorts of things. Like I'm not a wood bloke, really. I'm a bit of a wood butcher, but I'm going to enjoy, like Jude, she suggested like these serving trays, tidy them up and route the edges, and I need a tool just to pop into the program to sort the edges nice and things like that. And she reckons, she'd like a couple of them. So no doubt she'll get them. And soap trays. Jude's always wanted to make soap, and she has in the past, but yeah, life's just busy, so she hasn't had a chance to play with that much. So, yeah, the idea is to cut this gasket out today. And I've done a square, and I've also done a 5-point star. Just dropped one on. I can't even tell you what size it is. I dropped it on, left the pointy points on. Instead of radiusing them around, I've left the pointy points on. So see if this tool goes, see how quick it turns. Now, for this to work, this tip of the blade has to be behind the centre. And I believe it's 1.9 millimetres offset. So probably if you had to line it up in a particular place, you would have to allow for that. But just putting a bit of gasket paper down and having a cut, well, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't. If you start here, well, you go there. What the problem I do have though, well, I think I have. I don't even know if I have a problem. Is when it comes down, if it wants to go this way first, then it comes down facing that way. That offset's supposed to make it turn and let it come along. So anyway, we'll see. So that's on this morning's schedule. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I'll just film bits and pieces as we go, eh? Okay, I've got the tool here. I've just done a dummy run off camera to see, and when it does a circle, it seems to take off here at 9 o'clock and does a circle around like that. So I'm going to set the tool up that direction, so if we set it up like that and on a small hole, it mightn't have room to turn. I don't know whether it does or it doesn't. On the home position here, it's gone home to 20 mil above the surface. So now I'm just going to press start or run cycle, and we'll just see what it does. It shouldn't cut the gasket at this stage. It should just do it just above it. There's a 3 millimetre hole. The old shed's starting to creak and groan. This going down, I can speed that up a hell of a lot. I just got everything slow, so if I see something going wrong, I've got time to hit the stop button. That's just scraping that paper at the moment. I'm not sure how deep. This is 0.8 gasket material. I'm not sure how deep I should go. Perhaps 1.5 millimetres or something like that. I'm just not sure. I've got the tool set up as a drag engrave tool, so I can actually put a tad more tension on that in the program. Okay, so that thinks it's done its job now, and it thinks that this tip here is 20 millimetres above the surface, which it is. But what I'm going to do is bring this down to the surface, and I'm going to drop it in, say 1.5 millimetres. So if I go page down on my computer, I have a pendant that came with the machine, but I'm just as happy using the computer at the moment. So that was my 0 point before that I just set it at. So I think we'll go down. We'll try and go about 1.5 millimetres. That's 1.6 millimetres, so I'll reset my 0 and start the cycle. So this is where we break ship. That's not a very good hole. This is crap. Okay, that's a good hole. That looks to be a good one. So the small holes, it looks like they're not much chop, but what I can do now, you see it tore some of it. Now if it was like glued down, but why would you glue your gasket paper? It just doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load the file for the shapes. And what the plan is, I don't know which order it's going to do it, but there's a square around these holes which we're going to pull out and measure these holes, and there's a star here just for shit and giggles. So let's see how that goes, eh? So I'll click start. On sharp corners, I can understand it's not being so good, but most gaskets have like radius corners, so a radius, it appears that it would do the radius nicely. It's definitely cutting it. This is hard old gasket paper. It's not brittle, but it wouldn't be far off brittle. And of course I've got this going granny slow. Okay, that's one. Oh, it's nearly off. That's just a... Okay, this is a star, but you can see the holes are very poor quality here. The corner's not the best, but that's, I left the points on to make it really sharp just to see. I don't know if that was going to catch or not. Now it's going home. It's done a day's work. It's up this, I'm out of here. Okay. I'll just jog this table out of the way. Okay, I'll grab the verniers. Okay, let's have a look first. Now that star, these curves are nice, like that's certainly good enough for a gasket. Where it should be a pointy end, it's radiused them a little bit, so that's probably okay. Like, gaskets don't have sharp points on them. They just don't normally. There's normally a radius of, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something like that. So that's okay. So looking at that star, if I drew it without the points, that would have been certainly as good as we would ever need. Now, when we look at the back there too, I think being a Stanley blade and just plunging and trying to turn, it couldn't turn quick enough to do the job. So this hole here, I'll just press old Gertie on. There, we're on 0. And so when we look at, so that hole was 8mm, that's come in at 8.14. The 10mm holes come in at 10.34. And the 20.6. Those are, I know, look, on a gasket, if you put a 10mm hole in, on a Fergie it'd be 7/16, so you'd be about 11. A 10mm hole with 0.3 of a millimetre as a clearance for the bolt would be just fine. That's okay. So I think it's a good thing. I think the small holes won't be any good, like for a carby gasket. The 5mm hole it struggled with, that's 4.8. The bit that's any good, I think up the top here it's a bit better, the 4.8. Yeah, 4.8. So that was supposed to be a 5mm hole, or 8mm hole, but it just dragged, yeah. I went 3, 5, 8, 10, no, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10 I think. So that's 10.4, and on the 20. But that would be fine most of the time. If it was a 20mm hole you measured on a gasket and you're allowed 1/2 mil, smaller, well, you know, you could sort the error out. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, that's promising anyway, isn't it? You can see on my wasteboard here, you can see how I cut into the wasteboard a little bit, so it was going right through. Possibly if I didn't go so deep, but I did want to go down deep just to make sure. So where it thought 0 was is the top of this here, and at the moment I can set it so it just goes down automatically 0.8 of a millimetre and away we go. That's something we can do in the programming, but I set it at 1.5, so I knew it went through, and I did that because it was a good cut. Now, in saying that, the deeper the blade goes, because it's a Stanley knife, the harder it is to turn on this radius here. So I may do an experiment. We've got this whole little sheet of gasket poker to play with. I'll do an experiment. I might adjust this now, so it only goes in, say, 1mm. Well, there you go. We got some gaskets cut. I've certainly got a bit to learn with the router. I wanted to cut gaskets, I wanted to engrave with it. The laser engraved stuff, and like with the laser, we could put little tags in there, and I've done it with keychain tags and all that, and we could put them in and we could laser engrave numbers, serial numbers, all that sort of thing if we chose to. With this here we have a diamond engraver. That's got to be a good thing. It's just something I've been interested in doing for ages. The router being a wood router, look, that's fine. I finished the, stay here for a second. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I finished the boot for the laser, for the brush. It fell off the table. It's quite brittle. It broke a little piece here. But that brush there, we're going to put some more brushes on. That come out of eBay. Oh, not out of eBay. Jude picked it up yesterday from King Kong sales or something or other. I think that'll be okay. On the router, once it comes up, it's a bit fat through here. So I probably need to just cut a piece out through here, maybe. But all in all, it come out okay. The top piece, this bottom piece, when you set it in the 3D printer to make it, I just chucked it in and didn't give it much thought. I hadn't done any 3D printing for a while, so I should have flipped it because it was trying to build up space in the middle of the air. So look, that works okay. When I was doing the little tray, I handheld it. I didn't have any brushes for this, so Jude just bought me one. I said, yeah, good enough for about 18 inches, and he said, oh, you come home, so I got your brush, oh, beauty. And I said, how many did you get? And she said, oh, just one, just see how it goes first. So, gotta go to town. One day. But anyway, that came out okay. That's how it works. It sits up on that spindle and we can put it on, take it off if we need to. But look, that's it. Bloody long stew today. Anyway, we'll get there. I'll have a bit of a fiddle with this today. I'll see if I can fine tune this gasket thing. I'll try different sizes. The Stanley blade, like they call it a box cutter and things like that. So I watched the thing on YouTube where a bloke just put a piece of cardboard box in there and traced around it, traced his channel name out, and look, it come out fine. I think if we could rig up a pointier blade and yeah, just have a smaller thing. But anyway, on Thingiverse, I see one the other day that can be downloaded, a drag knife they call them. Yeah, God, I got bloody craft today, and can't remember a thing. Well, thanks for dropping by. It's a bit of a long drawn out old show today, but anyway, hopefully you enjoy it. Like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff, and we'll see what other mischief we can get up to, eh? Catch you later.